Hi, and welcome to the third lesson in my series on the playing of Gory Carter. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at some of his introductions. He had some really cool and unique introductions to his songs. And then I'll also show you some of his really kind of unique licks that you hear in just a couple songs, or maybe just one particular song, but they're really neat ideas that you can use in your own playing. Let's start out with the introduction to a tune called Our Love Can't Last Long, and this is in the key of B flat. Let me play it for you one time, and then we'll break it down. There it is. I love that introduction. Very simple. The horns on the tune play that first part. But I'm going to use a guitar. I played this with a group before, and I just used the bar chord, B flat bar chord. And I've got my first finger barring the 6th fret all the way across. And I've got my second finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. And my ring finger is on the 8th fret of the 5th string. When I play that, I'm playing the bassier notes. The top 4 or bottom 4 strings. I don't want to get the treble strings at all if I'm trying to copy what the horns are playing on the record. And all I do is move it up 1 fret to a B. Stop. And then he's playing this from the 8th fret of the 4th string to the 6th fret of the 3rd string, then a bend on the 8th fret, 3-finger bend from the 6th to the 8 on the 3rd string. He does kind of a quick, kind of a pull-off type thing, and then he repeats. And he throws in this augmented chord, and he's going to just play it 1 string at a time. And I've got my first finger on the 6th fret getting the 2nd and 3rd strings. My ring finger is on the 8th fret of the 5th string, and my second finger is on the 7th fret of the 4th string. And I'm just going to go from the 5th string down to the 2nd. So that whole introduction. Fun to play. And then he goes into a swing type thing. You can listen to that song. It's called Our Love Won't Last Long. A second introduction that I really like is from an instrumental tune. This is one I mentioned before that I have no idea what the name of the song is. And he does some really cool stuff in this introduction. It's in G, and he starts out with 2 open strings. Let me play the first part of the introduction for you. And then mostly I'm not going to teach you the whole thing note for note. I'm just going to show you a couple ideas that are in the tune. First one is this introduction. I'll just play this for you. And that is the first part of the introduction, the first bar. And he starts out with an open, he's going into G. So he's going to play the 2 open strings, 2nd and 3rd. 3rd picking down. And he's going to do this little walk up from the, I've got my first finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string, my second finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. He's just going to move it up 1, 2 to the G position with my first finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. He does kind of a smear there at the end. Then he does this little where he's got his first finger barring, sounds like the 2nd and 3rd strings of the 2nd fret. And then he's taking his second finger and going on and off the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. Kind of a cool lick. And then he goes to the 5th fret of the 4th string. And he does this little like a slide from the 4th to the 5th. And then the tune goes into the second into the 4 chord. So the introduction over the 5 for this tune, this instrumental, goes like this. Up there, but that's the idea. This little idea, you hear him use that a lot, and there's an instrumental that I'll teach later as a separate lesson where he does those little smears, slides quite a bit. So that's another action. Comes from a tune called My Love Is Coming Down, and this one has a very T-Bone Walker-ish feel to it. And it sounds like Goree Carter was inspired by some of T-Bone Walker's introductions, and he does this a little different though, different than what T-Bone does. Now you listen to the recording, and it's in the key of A flat, probably in G or A, but I'm going to play it in A flat. So it goes like this. And then into the song, which is a slower tune. What he's doing is taking that second position 9th chord shape, and we're starting down here, which is a, what would that be? That would be an A, that's our A flat, or A sharp, flat, A flat. So he's going to strum the chord, and I've got my first finger on the 10th fret of the 4th string, second finger on the 11th fret of the 5th string, and then flattening my ring finger on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings at the 11th fret. So I'm going to play the chord, and then I'm going to strum it, or pick it one string at a time from the 5th to the 2nd. It's like this. And then I'm going to do a little 13th, where I'm going to take my pinky on and off the 13th fret, maybe even the 13th fret of the 1st and 2nd strings. It sounds kind of cool when you do it either way. And it's on to the 13th and then off. So the whole thing. Whoops, let me do it again. You can do it like that, or you could do it just getting the 1 string. And then he just moves that 2 down, 2 more, and then he's going to get this chord, which you're challenging my chord vocabulary here, E flat 9, and he just plays that quickly, and then that augmented chord, which we used in a couple songs ago. This time, got my first finger, this is a E flat augmented, I think. My first finger is on the 4th fret of the 2nd and 3rd strings. My ring finger is on the 5th string at the 6th fret. And my second finger is on the 5th fret of the 4th string. It's a very cool introduction. Let's play that one more time. And then into the slow tune. So there's another idea for an introduction to a slower tune. Now he does another one called How Can You Love Me, where he does sort of a similar thing. I'm not sure if that's it exactly, but that same idea where you're using the descending 9th chord and then ending with the augmented chord. So listen to that tune. It's called How Can You Love Me, and he does something very similar. But the other one comes from My Love Is Coming Down, and that is a unique version of a standard T-Bone Walker. Next introduction is from a tune called Christmas Time. This is his Christmas song, Goree Carter's Christmas song, which is really pretty cool. He plays in B flat, and he does an introduction that goes like this. Into the song. Here's what I'm doing. B flat. Doing this double stop where I've got my second finger. I'm using my second finger so I can get the chord with my first finger. And I'm putting my second finger on the 6th fret of the 2nd string and my ring finger on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. It's a B flat. Then I'm just moving it down. So strumming it, picking it quickly, then moving it down, down again, then a little pause, and I'm just getting a B flat chord with one finger barring the second, third, fourth strings at the 3rd fret. Then he hesitates, and then you hear this, where he just moves that chord up and back. So that whole introduction, I don't think I got the timing exactly right, but that's the idea. Kind of cool. You don't hear too many introductions like that in blues. Before we leave Gory Carter, I want to show you one really cool series of licks that he uses in an instrumental tune. This is the one I don't know the name of. It's in the key of G, and this is kind of a thing that you could adapt really easily and use in a slower tune. It does something like this. And that is the main lick, and then he goes into the 5. Something like that. So the main lick, we're going to walk into it. We're in G, from the 3rd to the 5th fret of the 2nd string. It sounds like he gets a double stop at the 3rd fret, 1st and 2nd string. And then he goes, where he's doing this double stop, it's a G. First finger is on the 10th fret of the 1st string. Ring finger is on the 12th fret of the 2nd string. And then he does the slide. Sounds like he's got a 9th chord, or even just the top 3 strings. First 3 strings of the 3rd fret. And he's just kind of sliding it off the guitar, off the neck. He doesn't stop anywhere. Just something like that. So that whole first part. Then he does it again. And he throws in this double stop by dropping his pinky. Keeps that double stop and just drops his pinky in on the 13th fret of the 1st string. And then he does this lick, something like that, where he does a double stop, same double stop, back down here, with my pinky on the 6th fret of the 1st string, ring finger on the 2nd fret, 5th fret of the 2nd string. And he does this little to the 3rd fret of the 1st string, and then a hammer-on pull-off on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. Something like that. That may not be exactly what he does. I'll tab it out exactly. Then he does, into the 4, he does this. This time he's going down here, up here, with the 1st finger again on the 10th fret of the 1st string, and then my 2nd finger on the 11th fret. And then again, with that double stop, and then into the 5. He does all kinds of stuff. I'll tab that out for you. But that first part is what I like. So if you're playing a slow stomp, you can kind of go into all kinds of cool stuff. I just love that combination of the single string runs, the quickly picked double stops, the slide. He does all kinds of neat stuff in that little sequence. Now if you listen to Gory Carter's playing, he does all kinds of other cool stuff. There's one tune, might even be the same tune, the instrumental tune, where he does this little, as he goes from the 1 into the 4, he comes up to the 10th fret and does the staccato picking slide back down to the blues box. And that's a cool thing you can do. You can really do these high note things from any position, any note that's part of the scale that the key you're playing in. So if I'm playing in G, this is down here where I have a second position G bar chord. So I can go to the 10th fret and do that little slide. I could also go to the 13th fret. I could go to the 15th fret, which is a G. All kinds of ideas there. That's another one last Goree Carter thing that I forgot to show you. One clarification: earlier in the lesson I was trying to figure out these double stops he does. And I thought maybe he could bend it. Doesn't sound like a bend. I listened to it a bunch more and it sounds like he's just sliding. So if we're playing in G, sliding from the 6th to the 5th to the 3rd, getting the 2nd and 3rd strings for those choppy kind of double stops that he does, which is really a different thing that Goree Carter did in his playing. Hope you enjoyed these lessons. Get you started if you want to get into Goree Carter, listen to his recordings. A lot of great stuff that I didn't show you. And if you don't want to get into it, just take some of those ideas and mess around with them, and I bet you can find a way to use them in your own playing. Feel free to contact me with any questions, comments, constructive criticism, information, anything that I can use to make these videos better or to help you out with your playing. See you again soon.